start streaming. I'm going to share the desktop. And for the stream, we'll start here. All right. So we're just going to take some time and just kind of make our way through, at least try to work through the later sections of chapter 1 as quickly as we can. We'll start chapter 2 next week, right? So we'll start with next week will be section 2.1. So this is f of x and this is g. Evaluate the following. Basically, we just plug in. We find f of -3. We find g of -3. Okay. So if we do f of -3, that's going to be 9 plus 9 is 18. 9 times, no. Yeah. And then g of -3, 3 to the power of 3 is 27. 27 plus 8, 27, 37, 35. So then 35 plus 18, 35, 45, 55, so 53. Let's go 53. And again, I'm just trying to do a speed run. I'm just trying to get through it quick, right? You don't have to do this. And I'll stop me if I need to go back or go further into detail on any of them. Okay. So g of 1, that's going to be 7. F of 1 is -2. 7 minus -2 is 9. Okay. If we plug -2 into f, it's going to be 4. 3 times 2 is 6. That's going to be 10. So it's going to be 10 times. If we plug -2 into g, that's going to be 8 plus 8 is 16. So the final result is going to be 160. Okay. G of 4. 16 times 4 is 40 plus 24 is 64. So the top is 64 divided by the bottom, f of 4. That's going to be 16 minus 12 is 4. So 64 divided by 4 is what? There's a 1, 24, so 16. Let's try it again. So if we do 4, right? Okay. So g of 4, 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 40. Oh, okay. 16 times 4. 40 plus 24 is 64. So the top is 64 divided by, that's going to be 16 minus 12 is 4. There's a 1, 24, 16. I think I did 16. What am I missing? We'll try 16 again. What am I missing? 4 times 4 is 16. Oh, maybe I'm not subtracting there. That's probably why. 64, right? Okay, 4 times 4. I think that's what I was forgetting, the 8. 40. And I'm also trying to do it in my head. I should be writing this stuff out. Again, I'm trying to do a speed run. 16 times 4 is 40 plus 24. So if we subtract 10, that would be 14. So that's going to be a negative 16. Negative 16 on top. So then I think that was 4. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 12 is 4. So 16 divided by 4, this is going to be negative 4. Okay. Darn it. I'm trying to do it in my head. I'm not going to worry about it. See, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's go back. Me and OCD. I'm going to hit similar and do it again. If it behaves properly. Is this the same one? Okay. Let's just do a similar one and go back and get it right. I think we can do it. 4 plus 4 is 8. That's going to be a positive 8. That's 12. That's 20. G. So if we plug in 2, that's going to be a negative 4. Let me write that one down. Negative 4. F, 4 minus 4 is 0. So that should be the answer. If we plug in 1 into F, that's going to be a negative 1. That's going to be 3. So the final result is going to be negative 3. G. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. It's going to be positive. So 8 and 4 is 12. So the top is going to be 12. That's going to be 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's 12 over 8. But then we need to simplify. We can at least divide it by 4. That becomes a 3. This becomes a 2. Okay. We're going to skip this one because it's similar. Okay, I'm going to do this one because it asks for the domain of each function. F plus g of x, right? Go ahead. Let me see. Yeah, okay, we'll do this one. So f plus g, right? There are no like terms, so if we add these two together, we just add them together, and there's no like terms here. Plus x plus 7. So for this one, if we take the domain of f, which is going to be all reals, this is just a line. We take the domain of g, which is all reals, this is a parabola. So then we take the intersection of those two results. So all reals intersect all reals ends up being all reals. So f minus g, this minus that, we're going to say negative 4x squared plus x plus 7. And then this has the same argument. All reals intersect all reals. It's all reals here. So this one's going to be this one. F times, so we multiply. So we're going to distribute that 4x squared. So we're going to get 4x cubed. 4 times 7 is 28x squared. And I think this one still has the same argument. All reals intersect all reals is still all reals. And then D, f divided by g. So I'm just going to do it this way. The numerator is x plus 7. The denominator is 4x squared. Okay. This one, we have an added stipulation we cannot divide by 0, so we got to throw out any x that makes the denominator 0. So then I think 0 is a number that we have to throw out in this case. So we want everything except 0, so that's going to be C. Because again, we can't divide by 0. This one's similar to the one we just did. I'm going to do the next one. Let's do this one because the domain's a little bit more interesting here. If we add these together, no like terms, so we just kind of keep them separate. So I'm going to say x minus 19 plus f, so that's going to be the square root of x. What's the domain? Okay, so the domain of G is all reals, but this one, remember, we can't take the square root of negatives, so this is greater than or equal to 0. So then all reals intersects greater than 0 is going to be greater than 0. So then the far left, it can be 0, so we're going to use a square bracket. The far left is 0 off to infinity. Infinity always gives a parentheses. F minus G, F minus G. So we have to distribute a negative into G, right? So F is this thing, square root of X. We're going to say minus G, which is X, and we got to distribute the negative, so that's going to become plus 19. Hang on, let me do this. Plus 19. Domain, I think it's the same domain. Zero to infinity. Not that one. Okay. Oof. Same kind of argument, same restriction. Nothing has changed really there. Okay, let me think about it. F minus G. Oh, okay. We're past domain. We're not doing domain. See, it was all running together for me. F times G. So now we're multiplying this times that. So, okay, let's see if we write it this way. X times the square root of X. And then minus 19. 19 times the square root of X. Same restriction for the domain. Okay. F divided by G. So we're going to hit division, square root of X. X minus 19. Okay. So normally it's what? 0 to infinity, but we have an added restriction that we cannot divide by 0. So we gotta throw out x equals 19. So then what I'm gonna do for this one, it's still gonna be greater than or equal to 0, but we gotta throw out 19. So the far left is gonna be 0 up until 19. It can't be 19, so 19 needs a parentheses. I'm gonna hit cup or do my union, and then I want to go from 19 to infinity. So x has to be greater than or equal to 0, and it also can't be 19 because we don't want to divide by 0. Okay. F of 3, right? So we pass 3 through F first. That's going to be 9 minus 2 is 7. Then we pass 7 through G. 21 plus 8 is 29. Let's try it again. F of 3. 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. What am I missing? 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 times 3. 21 plus 8 is 29. What? Oh, they don't want to answer this yet. They want us to do f of g of f of x. I see. Okay. So g is 3x plus 8, but the x in this case is going to be our function f, so it's going to be x squared minus 2. And then we need to simplify. So if we distribute the 3, that goes there. This other one turns into minus 6. So the final result is like a plus 2. I think we got 29 there, right? 9 times 3 is 27, 29. So if we plug in negative 2, that's going to be 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 16. No, 14, right? F of g of 0, right? So we plug in 0 into g, that's going to be a negative 5. Negative 25 plus 3 is negative 22. Okay. Okay, so f is the outside function. We got this 2x plus 9. But our x in this case is going to be the function g. So it's going to be 3 of negative 3 times negative b squared minus 8. Then we need to simplify it down. So negative b squared becomes a positive b squared. We distribute the 2. This becomes a 6. That becomes what? Negative 16 plus 9, negative 7. Okay. So if we plug 4 into f, 4 times 4 is 16, minus 4 is 12, and then plug in 12. 4 times 12 is 48, so the final result is 44. Okay, so this domain is a little bit different. If we put g into f, we have this 2 over x and right here for x. So if I multiply the top and the bottom by x to get rid of the fractions, the top is going to become 3x. The bottom is going to become 2 plus x. So the domain of the inside function is everything except 0. The domain of the simplified is everything except negative 2. So then the final domain is everything except 0 and negative 2. So the far left is going to be negative infinity. I think we said 0 and negative 2. So up until negative 2. Cup or union. Negative 2 to 0. And then union or a cup. 0 to infinity.
Professor,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
are we able to do question 9 from week 8?
From week 8. From the exam?
Yeah.
We can look at it. Let's go like this. We can close this out. Wow, I guess we are rapidly approaching We don't have that many more sessions left. Let's see. I want to preview. You say question number 9?
Yes, from week 8.
Okay. Here, let's do this one so you can see it. So week 8, if I list it. So question number 9. It comes to section 1.5, right? So let's hop over to section 1.5. So I know that one, we did that one actually together. Let's go. It's somewhere towards the end of 1.5. So we're gonna kind of work backwards. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's similar to that one, but that's not it. Was it? It's like this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3. There are 4 different transformations going on. The basic function here is a parabola, which is x squared, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 different transformations. So we're doing a parabola. So it says plot the vertex. So the vertex is going to be located. This says go right 6 and down 3. So if we start at the origin, we go right 6 and down 3. That's going to be the vertex there. I'm also going to do when x is 5. So when x is 5, that's going to be -1. -1 squared is +1. That's going to be a -4. -4 minus 3 is -7. So when x is 5, y is -7. Okay. I'm going to save, and I want to check my answer. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we just did. Okay. What time is it? Let me go to the beginning of this section. So if we were to describe the transformations, for the first one, if we do the 4 on the outside, that's going to move it up by 4 units. If we say -1 on the outside, it's going to go down by 1 unit. A negative on the outside is going to flip it vertically over the x-axis. Then a negative on the inside is going to flip it horizontally over the y-axis. So we want to describe the transformations. The basic function here is going to be the reciprocal function, which is 1 over x. If we multiply the outside by 7, that's going to stretch. That's going to cause a stretch. Stretch it vertically by multiplying each y by 7 in this case. Okay, graph the following function. It's just a parabola, and we move it down by 10. So it's here. I'm just going to click in the center, and then we want to shift it down. So we want to do a vertical shift down by 10. Save, and check. This is going to be a square root that we move up by 4. Only one that moved up looks like it was this one. This is going to be a V-shaped graph that moves to the right by 6. This is the only one that moved to the right by 6. Okay, so this one has what? 2 transformations. It's basically a parabola. We move it to the right by 1 and up by 2. So here's a parabola. So we need to plot the vertex. We go right 1 and up by 2, and we are here. Oh, okay. Horizontal shift to the right by 1. Vertical shift up by 2. Okay. So this is going to be an S-shaped curve, a cubic function, but we flip it vertically over the x-axis and we move it down by 4. So it's going to be this tool. I'm just going to click in the center, flip over the x-axis, and then move it down by 4. Okay. Oh, we did this one, right? Let's go on to the next one. So the transformations here, it's going to be a V. We go right 2, flip top to bottom, and then go down by 5. So it can't be A or D. Right 2 and down by 5, this looks like B. So this one looks like we started with a step function. We went to the left by 2 and stretched it vertically by a factor of 3. So it shouldn't be A or D because those were compressed. And we said left by 2, so that would be B. Six units to the right. So if we're moving it to the right, we need to subtract 6 on the inside. So we're going to say parentheses x minus 6 squared. It's a parabola, but it's upside down, so we need to multiply the outside by a negative. 3 to the right by 3 units, so we're going to subtract 9, so it has to be either B or C, and then 5 units up, so it should be B. Okay. So we're going to start with the base function of x cubed, right? It says it shifted 3 units left, so that means we want to add 3 on the inside. Stretch vertically by a factor of 2. It's not late. I know Markham is late. Mr. Bell. Mega ultra late. We have to be out of here, actually. Okay. We said 3 units to the left, stretch vertically by a factor of 2. So that means it's going to be multiplied by 2 on the outside. So we're reflecting side to side. So we need to multiply the inside by a negative, and then shift it 6 units up. So that means we add 6 on the outside. Okay. Let me see if there's anything interesting here. I'm gonna actually hop over to section 1.4. So we got a chance to touch on 1.6. I wanted to take a few minutes to touch on section 1.4, just to kind of dust off the cobwebs. 1.4 preview. Nope, it's not that. So we know the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 3. X, Y, X, Y. It's going to be a negative 3 over negative 3, which is 1. So then ultimately it's just going to be x. It should be x plus 3. Let's check before we submit, right? When x is 0, y is 3. When x is negative 3, y is 0. That's the best we could do. Should have a positive slope, so it has to be B or C. And the y-intercept is 3, so it should be B. Let me see. I was trying to do it without writing. Let me see. X, Y, X, Y. 13 minus 3 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. So the slope is 2. Let me see. Negative 2. So 5. I think it's 2 and 5. So I'm going to say 2x. Is it plus 5 or minus 5? I think it was plus 5. Let's check before we submit. When x is negative 1, y is 3. When x is 4, 8 plus 5 is indeed 13. I'm going to go with this. Y-intercept is 5 with a positive slope, so it has to be either B or D. Y-intercept is 5, so it has to be B. Speed demon. Find the intervals over which the given function is increasing, decreasing, or constant. Okay, so this is going to be a diagonal line with a negative slope. So it's going to be decreasing. It's never increasing. It's going to be decreasing over its entire domain of all rails. So from negative infinity to infinity. Constant is no solution, so because it never became constant. Yeah, I think he got it to this better than yeah, he's already in there. All right. Increasing, decreasing, or constant. So this is going to be a parabola that's opening downward, right? So as we trace it left to right, initially it's going to be increasing from negative infinity to 0. And then it's decreasing from 0 to infinity. Let's see the time. It's never constant. There is no interval where the function is constant. I'm going to have to take a nap before I go out. I'm totally sleepy. 5 minutes ago, well, it's like the business day is over, so I don't know what you want there. Okay. I ain't gonna worry about that right this second. Even, odd, or neither. So even means when we do f of negative x, we get back the original. Odd means when we do f of negative x, we get negative of the original, right? So let me see. They both changed. Notice the x's changed and the y's changed. X is changed, y changed. So that's indicative of it being odd. When they both change like that, that means it's odd. Let's see. The x is changed, but the y stayed the same. X is changed, but the y stayed the same. So that sounds like y-axis symmetry, which is even. Even, odd, or neither. If we do negative x, well, it's going to go back to itself. So when we do g of negative x, we get back the original. That means that it's even. So both of these, they're going to be negative. If we replace the x with the negative x, we can factor out a negative. We should be able to get negative of the original, which is what it means to be odd. I know those cancel. I'm gonna say this one is neither. What time is it? Let's see. Give me like at least 5 more minutes, and then we'll call it a day. I'm gonna skip this one. I remember we did this one a couple of times. Um, it's a little bit long, so I'm just gonna skip it for right now. Okay. Are there any the x-intercepts? So it looks like the x-intercepts are -1 and 2. -1, 2. Y-intercept is what, 1? The domain, it goes from -3 to, looks like 3. Interval notation, so we're going to use square brackets from -3 to 3. The range, 0 to 1, square brackets, 0. It's increasing from -1 to 0 and 2 to 3. So from -1 to 0, and it's also, I'm going to say cup, from 2 to 3. Parentheses. Let me think about it. Comma. Oh, comma. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. If there aren't any burning questions, let me check the chat really quickly. I think the chat is fine. If there aren't any burning questions, we're going to stop here. Again, exam 2 has been available. I want to say we got through most of the questions that's on the exam. Like, we should have. And I think I streamed both sessions. So, yeah. Okay, guys. If there aren't any burning questions, I'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.